This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You are watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Okay, so Deontay Wilder has stated that he's actually working on a 2-fight deal with Anthony Joshua. The first fight being in Saudi Arabia and the rematch being in Africa. Now, while he wasn't specific about where in Africa, I'm going to presume Nigeria. Both Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua have heritage coming from Nigeria. So that would be the obvious destination when it comes to Africa. But there again, you never know. Maybe they're going to go down the Congo route or anything like that. You never know. Now, a 2-fight deal. Now, for me, and I think a lot of you will agree with me on this one as well, the rematch is only ever warranted if the first fight was either controversial or a very good fight. If the first fight turns out to be, say for example, Joshua Wilder isn't very good, meaning that it's going to be two guys just not wanting to engage, it's a very boring fight, the crowd's going to be booing, and people go, God, okay, we're never going to watch that fight again. What's going to happen with the rematch? So for me, I don't necessarily want to see the rematch unless the first one has something to talk about, okay? Hopefully there's no controversies. I don't like controversies, but controversies do sell. But hopefully we're going to want to watch the rematch because the first fight was so good. Okay, now, who in Africa are they negotiating with? Who's going to put up the kind of money that both Joshua and Wilder want? Now, Eddie Hearn, the promoter for Anthony Joshua, has not mentioned anything about Africa, which is quite unusual for Eddie Hearn. He's a bit of a foghorn. He gets something that he's negotiating with, somebody somewhere gets it out of him. Now, of course, Wilder has mentioned this. Now, of course, he's going to be... Eddie Hearn's going to be asked about it, so we can get to hear Anthony Joshua's side, if you like, from his team, as to is that actually the case? One in Saudi, one in Africa. Now, as I said, if it's going to be in Nigeria, could Nigeria put up the kind of money that would warrant this kind of fight? Warrant it in the sense of both Joshua, both Wilder would be happy with their payments. Would Skill Challenge be involved in putting the fight on in Africa? Because again, while they are Saudi-based, doesn't necessarily mean that they're only going to be putting up money for fights in Saudi Arabia. They could put them up anywhere in the world that they wanted, couldn't they? But would that mean that they're probably going to have to get, say, one of them under contract, such as a Deontay Wilder? Anyway, listen, we'll have to wait and see what happens. First things first, they're going to have to get it on. Now, Wilder did say that that's his next fight, and he's soon going to be in training camp to go into the Anthony Joshua fight. So quite clearly, he's not going to be fighting anybody else, despite what anybody else has said among his team, such as Mallet Scott and whoever. Quite clearly, Joshua is the one that he's looking at next. And why wouldn't he? Why would you want to go in there against whoever and risk it, whether you take on a gatekeeper or somebody at the top? You don't know, do you? Because one punch can change anything and end all that money, which is why I said I don't think Anthony Joshua should take another fight between now and then, because you never know. And that goes for both of them, doesn't it? But anyway, we'll have to keep tabs on what's happening. Is this true? Saudi Arabia and then Africa? Drop your thoughts below. Click on the subscribe. Catch you next video.